Health could be defined as a state of complete physical, mental and social well-being. What is the toxin called? Hemozoin. Very important. And this is responsible for causing malaria. What do you mean by acquired diseases? Diseases which are acquired during the life of an individual due to various reasons, various causes, various pathogens. Congenital diseases are diseases right from the birth. Hi everyone, welcome back to the revision class of 2nd PUC Biology, Chapter 8 called Human Health and Diseases. Myself, B. Shobha Rani from the Department of Biology, Vidyashram Pre-University College, the Temple of Excellence in Mysore. In this particular chapter, which is very important, as we all know how important health is. So in this particular chapter, I'll be discussing about what is health, what is disease, and what are the different types of diseases. All that important concepts I'm going to discuss in this particular revision class of chapter 8 of 2nd PUC Biology called Human Health and Diseases. Moving on to the next slide, that is, what is the weightage of this particular chapter then? The weightage of marks for this particular chapter is 7 marks. So what will be the type of questions asked for 7 marks? That is, 1 marker question is 2 questions and 2 marker question 1 question and 3 marker question 1 question. Again, as I said, in 3 marker question again they might ask split questions like 2 plus 1. So 1 marker question, 2 questions and 2 marker question, 1 question and 3 marker question, 1 question. So the total weightage of this particular chapter called Human Health and Diseases is 7 marks. Moving on to the introduction of this particular chapter. All of us know how important health is. Health is wealth. So how do we define the word called health then? So biology stated that mind influences through neural system, endocrine system, then immune system, and finally our immune system maintain our health. So hence mind and mental state can affect our health. So what does health in simple term means? Health does not simply mean absence of disease or physical fitness. It is not just because when we say absence of diseases, we are healthy. No, health does not simply mean absence of disease or physical fitness. So then how do we define the word called health then? Health can be defined as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. So how do we define the word called health? Health could be defined as a state of complete physical, mental and social well-being. Now, when people are healthy, I think all of us know when we are healthy, what will be the effect on our body. So when people are healthy, they are more efficient at work. So when you are healthy, you feel like doing work. So more efficient at work, and that will increase what? Productivity, and brings what? Economic prosperity. So only when we are healthy, so everything goes fine. So they are more efficient at work. This increases productivity and brings economic prosperity. Health increases longevity of life. All of us know we live for a longer time, and reduces infant and maternal mortality. Even the mortality rate of the infants and the mother will be reduced. So all these are the benefits of being healthy. So as we all know that health is wealth. Then what is that? So as we all know, health is affected by various factors. It might be like the genetic disorders, or it might be due to pathogens. What do you mean by pathogens? Like disease causing organisms, or maybe due to lifestyle. So there are various factors which affect our health. It might be the genetic disorders right from the birth. There might be some genetic defects. Then they'll not be able to lead a normal life. Then due to pathogens, that is disease causing organisms, and even the lifestyle. So when we don't have proper exercises and we don't even the way of living, lifestyle also affects our health. So when we lead more of sedentary life, we don't do any exercises, definitely it is going to affect our health. So pathogens, as I said, disease causing organisms are also the root cause for affecting the health. So what will be the pathogens that cause typhoid? Causes and symptoms of typhoid: Salmonella typhi bacteria, pneumonia, Streptococcus pneumoniae, common cold, that is rhinovirus, malaria, Plasmodium vivax, amoebiasis, that is Entamoeba histolytica, Ascaris lumbricoides, filariasis, that is caused by Wucheria bancrofti. So all these are the pathogens which cause the various diseases like typhoid, pneumonia, common cold, malaria, amoebiasis, ascariasis, and filariasis. So we'll be studying about what is the cause and symptoms of typhoid. So what is immunity next? Ability of the host body to fight against the disease causing organisms and increase our immune system is called immunity. So there are two types of immunity. One is called innate immunity, which is also called as non-specific immunity; acquired immunity, which is also called as specific immunity or adaptive immunity also. Then vaccination and immunization. As we all know, I think we have already come across, due to the coronavirus, there was a rigorous vaccination program, and we are able to overcome this coronavirus because of the vaccination program that was initiated by the government to fight against the disease causing coronavirus. Then immunization program. So as we all know that prevention is better than cure. So the immunization, right from the time of birth up to an age of 5 years, the children are kept on an immunization program, thinking that in future course of their lifetime they should not get the diseases. So all these are very important. Then allergies, then autoimmunity definition. All this you are going to study in this particular chapter. Then AIDS, as we all know, AIDS is called as a dreadful disease which is caused by HIV virus. So what are the causes of AIDS? HIV replication. We'll be studying about the life cycle of HIV virus, then symptoms, then the diagnostic test that is done, ELISA test, which is done. Prevention, as we all know, prevention is better than cure. So what will be the probable preventive measures that we need to take to overcome this dreadful disease called AIDS, that is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Then cancer, very important. So cancer is nothing but unlimited growth of cells which lead to a mass of cells called tumor. So as we all know, cancer has become a dreadful disease because the exact cause or reason for cancer is not known. So what is the definition of cancer? Then the types of cancer called benign tumor and malignant tumor. Benign tumor, where we find the tumor is localized, it will not spread to the surrounding areas, but malignant is chronic because it spreads to the other areas. Then causes, then what are the detection, what are the methods to detect the cancer? Then diagnosis, like we have CT scanning, then we have radiography, that x-rays, all that there are different, like biopsy test. So all histological tests, all these are the diagnostic test which is done to identify the cancer. Then treatment, we have this laser therapy, we have chemotherapy. So there are different types of treatment given for the cancer patients to overcome that disease. So all that we'll be studying in detail in this particular chapter. Moving on to the next concepts, what we are going to study in this particular chapter, that is about drugs and alcohol abuse. As we all know that the narcotic drugs are psychoactive agents which is going to affect the CNS. So like the opioids, cannabinoids, and cocaine, and hallucinogens and sedatives. So we classify the drugs into various types called opioids, cannabinoids, cocaine, hallucinogens, and sedatives. And smoking, I think all of us know alcohol, drugs and alcohol abuse. Then we move on to smoking, that is adolescence and drug abuse, addiction and dependence, then effects of drug abuse, prevention and control. All these are the very important concepts what we are going to study in this particular chapter called human health and diseases. So moving on to the one marker question. What is immunity? How do we define the word called immunity? Immunity is very, very important for the host body to fight against the disease causing, or it is the ability of the host to overcome the disease causing organisms or the pathogens. So immunity could be defined as resistance to diseases. It can be natural or artificial. Right. So immunity could be defined as what? Resistance, developing resistance to fight against the disease causing organisms. Then it can be natural or artificial. Then mention any 2 ways of maintaining health. As what are the 2 important things which you need to implement in your life to maintain good health and lead a happy life? As we all know, when we are healthy, we'll be happy. So mention any 2 ways of maintaining health, that is maintenance of hygienic food and water resources. Yes, of course, we should eat clean food and drink clean water. Very, very important, right? Then by proper disposal of waste, very important. So even the disposal of waste may cause various health hazards, because the waste may carry so many microorganisms which are disease causing organisms which may affect an individual's health. Then vaccination, already I told you vaccination is very, very important. At the time of, like for example, already I told you at the time of coronavirus, we had this tremendous program called vaccination program, where we are able to fight against this, develop the resistance or develop immunity against the disease causing organism, that is coronavirus. Then the immunization program, as I said, we have to develop that immunity against infectious disease. So mention any 2 ways of maintaining health: maintenance of hygienic food and water resources by proper disposal of waste, then vaccination against infectious diseases. Next, name the factors affecting health of an individual. So as I already said, genetic disorders might be the reason, infection, that is through the pathogens, and the lifestyle. Already I told you in the beginning. So there are various factors which affect the health, may it be like genetic disorders like sickle cell anemia and hemophilia. Right from the birth, the disorders will be there. Infection, for example, the pathogens like causing malaria, then typhoid, etc. Malaria is caused by Plasmodium vivax, typhoid is caused by Salmonella typhi, the pathogens. Then lifestyle, already I told you, lifestyle, way of living, and even malnutrition. When the diet what we eat is deficient of certain important nutrients, then definitely it is going to affect our health. Like for example, malnutrition, kwashiorkor condition, that is, which is caused due to lack of protein, then lack of exercise to the body. All these are the important factors affecting the health of an individual. Then name the 2 kinds of diseases. We classify the diseases into communicable diseases, or we can also use the word called infectious diseases. Then non-communicable diseases or non-infectious diseases. What do you mean by communicable diseases? Diseases which spread from one person to another person through pathogens or disease causing agents. What do you mean by non-communicable diseases? Which are not caused by pathogen and which will not spread from one person to another person. For example, like cancer. Cancer is not that which will spread from one person to another person. For example, AIDS spreads from one person to another person, right? Now, name the diagnostic test for typhoid fever. What is the test that is done to identify the typhoid fever? It is called Widal test. Who was Typhoid Mary? How did the word typhoid came? So, it was Mary Mallon, who was a healthy carrier of typhoid fever and was responsible for 47 illness in USA and 3 deaths from typhoid fever, as she was working as a cook in one of the house from 1900 to 1907. So who was Typhoid Mary, if they ask? Mary Mallon was a healthy carrier of typhoid fever. She was a carrier and as she was a cook, she was spreading from one person to another person and was responsible for 47 illness and 3 deaths from typhoid fever in USA from 1900 to 1907. Then name 2 marker question. Now let us discuss about 2 marker question. Name the toxin responsible for appearance of symptoms of malaria in human. Why do these symptoms occur periodically? I repeat, name the toxin responsible for appearance of symptoms of malaria in human. Why do these symptoms occur periodically? So some of the questions what I am discussing, the important from examination point of view. So you may get questions like this. So what is very important is, what is the toxin called? Hemozoin. Very important. And this is responsible for causing malaria. So name the toxin responsible for appearance of symptoms of malaria. The symptoms occur periodically, now and then, frequently, because the RBC, that is the red blood cell containing hemozoin granules, rupture at regular intervals. So I repeat, the toxin responsible for appearance of symptoms of malaria in human is what? Hemozoin. Why do these symptoms occur periodically or frequently? Because the RBC containing the hemozoin granules rupture at regular intervals. Next, give examples for vector-borne diseases. What do you mean by vector? The agent which causes the disease. So, malaria, the vector is Anopheles mosquito. Filariasis vector is Culex mosquito. So, the causative organism there it is Ocheria bancrofti, but it is the vector is Culex mosquito. Then dengue fever vector is Aedes mosquito. Then name the 4 types of barriers of innate immunity. As I said, innate immunity is non-specific immunity, and the types of barriers of the 4 types of barriers of innate immunity are physical barriers, then physiological barriers, cellular barriers, and cytokine barriers. So these are the type of questions which are asked for 2 marker. Then what is colostrum? Why is it important to be given to the newborn infants? So as we all know, the yellow colored milk that is produced by the mammary gland soon after the delivery by the mother for few days is called colostrum. So the white colored milk produced by the mother immediately after the delivery of the child is called colostrum. Why it is important to be given to the, as we all know, the child will develop the immunity right from the birth from the mother's milk. That is the reason why breastfeeding is so very important for the child. It has high protein content. Colostrum, the first milk produced by the mother immediately after the childbirth, will have what? High protein content and rich in vitamin A and antibody IgA. IgA stands for what? Immunoglobulin. Immunoglobulin A. That is the antibody is otherwise called as what? Immunoglobulin. So A. So what is colostrum? Why it is important to be given to the newborn infants? Yellow colored milk produced by mammary gland soon after the delivery for few days is called as what? Colostrum. It has high protein content and rich in vitamin A and vitamin IgA. Next, name the 2 kinds of lymphoid organs in our body. So, we classify the lymphoid organs into primary lymphoid organ and secondary lymphoid organs. So the primary lymphoid organs are also called as what? Central lymphoid organs. Secondary lymphoid organs are called peripheral lymphoid organs. Then 3 marker question. As I said, we are going to discuss some of the probable questions that may come in the board examination for 3 marker questions. What are interferons? INF, interferons. How do interferons check infections of new cells? So what are interferons? Interferons are antiviral glycoproteins produced by the viral injected animal cells which makes neighboring cells resistant to viral infection. So what are interferons? Interferons are antiviral glycoproteins produced by the viral injected animal cells which makes neighboring cells resistant to viral infection. Now, functions. What is the function? How do interferons check infections of new cells? What is the function? Make neighboring cell resistant to the viral attack, make cells to produce protein which interfere in the viral multiplication. So, they resist the viral multiplication. Right. Now, what are the 3 types of interferons? We come across alpha produced by, that is interferons alpha produced by fibroblasts, interferons beta produced by leukocytes, and interferon gamma produced by the lymphocyte and natural killer cells, NK cells. Next, 3 marker question. Next, mention the mode of transmission of HIV particles. As we all know that we have a wrong notion about the spread of HIV. So, what will be the possible mode of spread of or transmission of HIV particles? Let us discuss. During unprotected sex with infected person, not with the healthy person. So, during unprotected sex with a infected person, then transmission of unscreened blood and blood products, particularly at the time of blood transfusion. Blood transfusion is done to save a person, not to kill a person. So you should be very careful. Transmission of unscreened blood, when you don't do proper blood testing, all the screening of the blood and the blood products, and if it is given to the recipient, at that point of time, even the transmission of HIV particles will take place. Transplantation of unscreened organs, particularly when they go for organ transplantation, like it might be the heart, it might be the kidney. Okay, in that case also, it might spread. So transplantation of unscreened organs. Next, sharing of injected needles, very, very important. That is the reason why we use disposable needles. We should not share the same needle. So because the chances of transmission or infection is quite possible. So sharing of injected needles and syringe during intravenous drug injection. Particularly when we go for intravenous drug injection. From mother to neonatal, definitely from the mother when she's carrying the baby, it goes at the time of delivery. Then from injected mother to child through breast milk. Also, these are all the possible ways for the mode of transmission of HIV particles. Next question, write the source and effect of opioids on the human body. So when we are talking about drugs, which are called as psychoactive agents, which is going to affect the CNS particularly. So one such is opioid, cannabinoids, right? So sources, opioids are the alkaloids which are obtained from the latex, that is the milky like substance of poppy plant called Papaver somniferum. So which is the source for opioid? It is Papaver somniferum. Very important point to be noted. These are white, colorless, bitter compounds. Example you can give of opioids is what? Morphine, codeine and heroin, right? So next, taken. It is taken in what form? Sniffing or snorting, smoking and intravenous injection. Then effects, what is it going to do? Opioid is a depressant and analgesic. Then it attaches to opioid receptors in CNS and gastrointestinal tract. It reduces body function and perception of pain. That is the reason why it is used as what? Analgesic. It is used as analgesic. So perception of pain. It reduces perception of pain. Next. Question 4, list the sign of alcohol and drug abuse in youth. So whenever a youth is addicted to an alcohol or to a drug, what will be the possible symptoms of that particular individual? So we can make out, for example, like drop of academic performance. So they don't feel like going to the schools and colleges. So that they'll have disinterest in studies. So obviously it will lead to what? Drop of academic performance. Then unexplained absence from school and college. That is what I told. Drop of academic performance. They don't feel like, so they don't have any career oriented thing in their mind. So they don't think about their future life. Then lack of personal hygiene. Definitely they'll not have bath, they'll not wash their face, so etc, etc. So lack of personal hygiene also is one indication or one sign of being an alcohol or a drug abuse. Then depression, they'll be always under a mode of depression. Aggression, they'll be very aggressive. Even if you talk to them, they'll be more aggressive and they feel like being alone. So they'll always be in isolation, as social isolation. So they feel more comfortable being alone than being among others. Then fluctuation in weight and appetite. Obviously when they don't feel like having food, so their weight will reduce. So fluctuation in weight and appetite. Changes in eating and sleeping habit. Yes, of course, whenever they want, they'll sleep. Whenever they want, they feel like eating. So there is no proper timetable for their eating and sleeping habit. So loss of interest in hobbies. So they don't feel like doing any other things except for taking the drug or alcohol. So all these are the sign of alcohol and drug abuse in youth. Then 3-marker question, 5th one. Write the scientific name of 2 species of filarial worm causing filariasis or elephantiasis. How does the disease spread? How do they affect the body of infected person? So it is like a split question. So write the scientific name of 2 species of filarial worm causing filariasis. One is Wuchereria bancrofti, the other one is Wuchereria malayi, which is a nematode. Then mode of transmission. How does the disease spread? Biting of female Culex mosquito. That is, the vector will be female Culex mosquito. Then pathogen is Wuchereria bancrofti or the other one is Wuchereria malayi. Mode of transmission, vector is biting of female Culex mosquito. Then organs affected. Usually the organs affected will be the lymph vessels and lymph nodes in limbs and even sometimes scrotum also. Then symptoms, what will be the symptoms? How do they affect body of infected? So obviously what will be the symptoms? Abnormal swelling in limbs, scrotum, vulva and penis. That is the abnormal swelling in limbs. Hence it is called just like a big elephant leg. Hence the name elephantiasis, filariasis or elephantiasis. Hardening, that is hardening and thickening of skin, which is called hyperkeratosis. Then they'll have fever. All these are the symptoms of Wucheria bancrofti, which causes elephantiasis or filariasis. So at the end, what will be the learning outcomes of this particular chapter called human health and disease at the end of the chapter? So at the end of the chapter, when you study, you'll be able to differentiate infectious diseases from non-infectious diseases, or classify the infectious diseases on the basis of the type of causative organism, the mode of transmission, then describe the symptoms and mode of transmission and preventive measures of the disease like typhoid, pneumonia and common cold, dengue, chikungunya, amoebiasis, malaria, ascariasis, elephantiasis and ringworm. Define immunity and classify immunity. Already I said what are the two: innate immunity and acquired immunity. That is innate immunity and acquired immunity, active and passive immunity. Then describe the components of a immune system. All these are the things which you are going to learn at the end of this particular chapter called human health and diseases. Now let us move on to the flow chart, or let us have a recap through the flow chart about this particular chapter called human health and diseases. Classification of diseases. As I said, health is affected by various factors which may disturb the normal life of an individual. So one such is disease. So here, classification of disease, you can classify them into infectious diseases and non-infectious diseases. So what are all the things which come under infectious disease? AIDS, common cold, then malaria, tuberculosis, etc. Non-infectious diseases, cancer, hypertension and diabetes, which will not, as we know, infectious diseases spread from one person to another person. Non-infectious diseases do not spread from one person to another. So we can also call infectious diseases communicable and non-infectious diseases as non-communicable. Then life cycle of Plasmodium. So here you can see mosquito bites another human where the sporozoites are injected. Parasites reach the liver through blood. Then asexual reproduction will take place in the liver cells. Bursting cells release into the blood. Then so they will start multiplying. Bursting RBCs release a toxin called what? Hemozoin. Cycles of fever. That is what? Hemozoin responsible for the symptoms of malaria periodically or frequently. Then gametocyte sexual stage in RBC. Then we find female mosquito sucks the blood with gametocyte. Then fertilization and development in mosquito's intestine. Then mature infection stage, escape from intestine and migrate to the mosquito salivary gland. So when this mosquito bites a human man, it will continue. So this is the life cycle of Plasmodium, which is very important from examination point of view. Definitely they are going to ask this in the exam. It's like a most probable question which is asked in the board examination. Then human health and the types of diseases, as already said. Acquired diseases and congenital diseases. What do you mean by acquired diseases? Diseases which are acquired during the life of an individual due to various reasons, various causes, various pathogens. Congenital diseases are diseases right from the birth. For example, like genetic disorders are not the disorders which we acquire during our lifetime. It is right from the birth. So congenital diseases. So acquired diseases can be classified again into infectious and non-infectious. Infectious like bacterial diseases which is caused by bacteria, fungal diseases which is caused by fungi, viral diseases which is caused by virus, helminthic diseases which is caused by helminth, then protozoan diseases, then like typhoid, pneumonia, fungal diseases, ringworm, viral diseases, common cold and dengue, helminth diseases, ascariasis, and that is the worms, elephantiasis, then protozoan diseases like malaria and amoebiasis. Non-infectious is what? Cancer. Cancer is not an infectious disease which spreads from one person to another person. Hope you have all understood the important concepts what I discussed in this particular chapter called human health and diseases, which is also very important from examination point of view. Thank you.